Good morning, bună dimineața, dobre otra, bore da. It's now Monday, the 11th of May. Guys, 3 more weeks left. Can you believe this extraordinary academic year? We're into the final 3 weeks. I can't believe it. I was going to say the sun has been shining, but we've had a lot of rain this last week. It's reminded me of London, which is a good thing, because this week on the 15th, we have been looking at Family Day, and it's really important. I think if anything in this crisis, our families have meant much more than we ever imagined in the lockdown, not just because we've sort of been forced to spend so long all together, and I imagine that's been so difficult for all of us, but it gives us the importance of the fundamentals of this central support that we have, our family. And our family can come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. And our family doesn't always have to be the people we immediately think of. Our family is a wider family. One of the things I always think I've always admired about Moldova is the huge numbers of wider family members that are all involved in daily life, supporting each other, supporting mom and dad, supporting grandparents, aunties, uncles, cousins. And I think it's a really rich part of Moldovan society. So this week we will honour the family, we'll honour all our families, and we know the part they've played in making sure we as a school and you as students have had this incredible source of support throughout these weeks. And I want to say mulțumesc, spasiba, thank you to all our families for what they've done to get us through these times. This has not been the easiest, as we know, but we've got 3 weeks left to go. So I just want to talk about the last week in 2 weeks' time, so the 25th to the 29th, the very last week of the academic year. And as you know, that's International Week. And already activities and ideas are being put together for this week. Well, there's 2 ideas I need your help on. So first of all, on Wednesday, the 27th of May, we are going to have what's called Founders Day. Now let me explain to you why we are having Founders Day. I got into a conversation back in February when I was in London speaking at the British Council Conference, and I spoke to a senior leader from Eton College. And if you don't know what Eton College is, it's probably the most famous private school in the world. It's certainly one of the oldest. And we got talking about heritage and Eton and swapping stories and ideas, and their school is over 600 years old. Their traditions, their culture, very well established. And I said, well, heritage is coming to the end of its 3rd year. And he said something really interesting to me. He said, Eton College was only 3 years old once. And when we started to talk about the ideas and the things for the future, well, let's start with the remarkable vision of the founders. They want this school. They worked so hard to get this school established for our country, for our international community, because they want children to be prepared for the challenges of the future. So I've sent out an email to all of you, and for Founders Day, we're going to mark it with a special essay competition for grades 3 upwards, all the way to grade 9. And that is for you to explain, record what the challenges of the future are likely to be and how we prepare for them. We're also looking at Sure Start to grade 2. I would like a poem, a nice, wonderful piece of creativity to show what the future is going to look like in a very hopeful and positive way when we're all through this. And by the way, just on the conversation with Eton College, we're also going to be having a very extraordinary, unique collaboration with the world's most famous private school, because I'm speaking to their staff in June at a special conference of the British Council about our school and what we're doing with international education. And these are all the positives of the future, about the way our school is seen, not just in this country, but around the world, as a beacon of outstanding education. And you're all part of that. What we've done and what we're doing is all part of that. I know that Mrs. Tatiana Popper is speaking at a huge UK international online conference in June about the work we did here to support schools in Moldova and the Ministry of Education. And that's really prestigious. And she's also been working with other colleagues on UNICEF projects for education, sharing ideas around the world. And this is how we're going to come. There we go. There's the bells again. So you can tell school is starting to come closer and closer. I also want to talk to you about, for grade 9s really, and just wish them well. For the rest of the school, they're doing that IGCSE spring exams, and you can imagine the pressures and stress in trying to hold these events in this time, but that's really important for them. So all the support, and they're doing a great job as well in the circumstances of the lockdown. So guys, okay, best of luck and you'll be fine. These are just a milestone marker to help you ready for the real thing. I also want to say to grade 8s, you've got your discussions about IGCSE options coming up. So again, all plans for the future. We have our open day on the 16th of May, a virtual open day. And we've just seen the recording of the 360-degree virtual tour of the school. We know there are lots of new families who want to join us next year. So the brochure and all of you that have been involved in that, thank you so much, because that's been really difficult. My thanks to Mrs. Tatiana Onatu and all her team. The summer school plans are released and they look amazing. And again, Mrs. Inga, Mrs. Tatiana Onatu, Mrs. Christina Zaruba, Mrs. Luba, Mrs. Christina Recchi, you've worked so hard to make sure that in the summer there's a range of events. And yes, it looks like it will be online for the first part, but it's something that will make sure that we have something to occupy ourselves as we go into the summer months, and we'll see how this lockdown develops. I also want to say that we are planning in late August and for September some special weekends to offer you to come into school, to do some physical exercise, some activities, maybe a picnic in Botanica, maybe some work with one of our charities. But we feel that we should be doing something to get us back together and not just in school. And there's lots of volunteers from the teachers who will have said they'd like to do something on a weekend or in the sort of end of August to make sure that it brings us back together physically. And obviously we've got to do all this within the development of how the lockdown is in Moldova. So those are most of my key messages. I did want to say, thank you again, primary school, wonderful assemblies that are being produced all the time. And I know from the students, the conversations I've had with student councils, primary and gymnasium, and the wonderful feedback you've given about the positive experience of the distance learning programme, especially when you are comparing the experience, unfortunately, of other students in this country around the world and the full-time education you've continued to receive daily in your interactive lessons. Thank you for all that feedback. And as you know, at the end of every academic year, we do a big self-analysis review of the school year, what went well, even better ifs, and that all feeds into how we plan the priorities for the 4th academic year, can you believe? My assembly this week is on social responsibility, and I was really moved by the amazing story the whole world has come to know of a 100-year-old World War II veteran, Captain Tom, in the UK, and he's raised tens of millions by walking for the NHS, the National Health Service, those key workers in Britain that the country's very proud of and the work they're doing. I think Captain Tom's example at the age of 100 is just absolutely breathtaking and remarkable. And it shows us, let's go back to families. Our oldest members of our families are so important, and the wisdom that they have and their energy and the way that they pass on for us to the future, that legacy. And I think Captain Tom's example is inspirational and remarkable for all of us to take on. So that was my assembly this week, so you'll see that on Thursday. The teachers have been obviously meeting in their weekly staff meetings, discussing some of the issues and some of the ways. Guys, our teachers are working so hard and doubling their time. They do want to pass on to you all just how grateful they are for your engagement and the way that you have really raised your game to this challenge of DLP. And that comes out every time we meet on a Wednesday with all the schools. So from me as director, Mulțumesc Spasibo. As ever, some book greetings. Now, as you know, I took the advice of my own children who said maybe big, heavy historical works or travel writers' works, maybe it wasn't so good. So I've been in the school library and I found some classics. What a wonderful library we have. And I'm going to say thank you to all the parents who have been supporting us with book donations this year. It's been remarkable. This is one of my favourites. That's my daughter Gwen. Her nickname is Penguin. This one's a classic. There's also a lovely cartoon that goes with it as well. Okay, so I would recommend Lost and Found, about a boy and a penguin who take a journey to the Antarctic. I do love that story. I'm a huge Roald Dahl fan, one of the best children's writers ever. I think if I had to choose a Roald Dahl, James the Giant Peach would be Danny the Champion of the World perhaps as well. But this is a lovely book. Michael Morpurgo, you probably know the film War Horse. His writing's incredible. He set up a huge farm in Devon years ago to allow inner city children from London to come and experience nature and the countryside and animals. He's a remarkable person in real life by all accounts. But this is one of the classic books, and when they first produced this at the National Theatre as a stage play with those mechanical horses, it was a wonderful thing to see. There's lots and lots of things we could be planning to read, and the teachers are putting together some advice for the summer as well, which I'm really pleased they are. But I would recommend Michael Morpurgo. My daughters all love the Dork Diaries, and I know a lot of you do too. That's a classic. I don't know this one, but this was recommended to me, Aurora Rising. There's a lot of teen literature out there. I would be grateful for any recommendations from students for that one. And I'm going to finish on the classic, okay? She wrote the second follow-up to this, which didn't go down so well, but Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird is the classic. And the character Atticus Finch, the lawyer, when he famously says, to know a person, walk a day in their shoes, walk in their shoes. And that remarkable line of empathy and how we try to understand each other and make our actions based on better understanding instead of fear is one of the big stories that comes for me from this book. And also it's a wonderful book of childhood, dealing with real adult problems, the awful racism and hatred of America in the Deep South in the 1930s under Jim Crow laws. But To Kill a Mockingbird, still the classic. And if you got a chance, there are one of the books you should have read by the time you've gone to university. I would say that would be one of them, definitely. I'm actually picked up Walt Whitman as well. I was reading some of his poetry, so I'm sure Mrs. Linda will be very impressed that I'm reading Walt Whitman. Guys, as ever, we've got 3 weeks to go. You've done remarkable. We're going to get to the end, and the finishing line is in sight. I am so proud of you. I think you're a remarkable group of young people. It's a complete privilege to have been your director. And this is my first year here. I came here 1 year ago in May, and I'm so proud to talk to you, to colleagues from Eton College, to colleagues in the UK, to colleagues in America, to the guy that guards the building opposite my street, because you are remarkable and what you've done is inspirational. And you've kept that light of education flickering and burning brightly throughout this entire period, ready for our 4th year. We all deserve our break in the summer when it comes. We all deserve our rests, and we need to look after each other and our families. Do some jobs around the house. Make sure you don't make your parents too cranky. Hope, Nadezhda, Speranza. You guys are amazing. You rock your heritage. Take care.